Rain in the bathroom stall. Hi pals, it's me, Artie, they them pronouns only. It is and has been raining for like at least a week. So the light, it's dark. You might be able to hear the rain. It just adds a little something, you know. This video, I wanted to talk a little bit about this very short show that very recently came out. I don't know where exactly it is available, but we watched it on Sky, and it's sort of the spin-off show of a short film. I've not seen the short film, but we did watch the 4-episode series. The episodes are quite long, but basically it's called Boiling Point, and it's about these people who work in I guess it's technically a fancy restaurant. They were basically bringing northern food to like a more upmarket or audience. I don't know. I don't know things about restaurants, so that's the best I can provide, to be honest, on that one. It's a pretty good show. They've definitely covered a lot in just 4 episodes. There has been things like harassment in the workplace, racism as well, some disability related things, queer stuff, and there is also a non-binary character in there as well, but there wasn't like a whole lot about them, because otherwise I would have also made a video about that too. But yeah, it was left off on a cliffhanger. I think that they are hoping to come up with another season, but it's literally so new. I think they're waiting to see how people respond to it. I think it was a really well crafted show, to be honest. They definitely put a lot more thought into their characters and storylines than a lot of similar shows like this. It's definitely considered like a drama, but there is one character in particular who has Crohn's disease. And I just wanted to talk about that storyline on here, because it's not super often that I see any plot lines about Crohn's or IBDs in general. But this one as well, there were some things about this one that were a little bit close to home. And I just really appreciated the representation they created for Crohn's disease, but also I do have some feedback as somebody who lives with Crohn's. So it was literally the last episode as well, I'm pretty sure. So we followed Robin. She's one of the waitresses there. She is also like I don't know if she's had her break yet or much work as an actress, but the character is an actress going on auditions, and the obviously waiting job is the one that pays the bills. So in this episode she goes on an audition. There is a little bit of backstory of it being brought up in previous episodes, but this is the episode where she's actually going on the audition. While she's in the waiting room, her stomach starts gurgling, and she tries to use their disabled toilets on location, but it's like completely locked. She couldn't even use her radar key to actually get into the toilet. So she spoke to the receptionist and they were like, it's broken and there are no other toilets. And her anxiety gets up, which is something I relate to a lot when the closest, most accessible toilet is out of action and your body is giving you the signs that it is time. And something that a lot of people maybe don't fully appreciate with Crohn's disease, when your body gives those signs, you have a very limited amount of time to find a fucking toilet, you know? And she uses this app, which I think was called Loo Near You, which I think is a real app, but it's not really used very much. My mum wondered if the show was kind of maybe partnered with the app to get more like attention on the app as well. Because I did download the app, but not many local businesses are part of it. But it seems like basically local businesses sign up to be part of this app so that you can find the nearest toilet that you can ask to use. I think it doesn't even seem to include like public toilets in there, which is kind of frustrating, because I do know of public toilets nearer here, but they didn't come up at all. So that's frustrating, but like I do hope that maybe from this, maybe from my video as well, more attention can be put on that app and more businesses can get involved.
And of course, I've Googled the app to try and find it so I can leave it in the recommendations or whatever in the description. And there's apparently loads of them. So I don't know which one people should use. So if you use one of these apps and you think it's good, please let me know which app it is you use and sort of what general area you use it in and find it helpful in. So maybe we can share some good resources for people who need to go to the bathroom a lot in public.
It's kind of like that refill app. When I originally downloaded that, there was like nothing came up for like where you could refill water. Whereas like I think people use that app more now, but I don't know whether that's they use it more because the places they live in, like maybe London, just use it more. I don't know. So yeah, she uses this app to go and find another toilet somewhere else. She finds a nearer toilet, however it's in use. So she originally thinks, oh, okay, I'll wait, I think it's fine. And then she's like, no. Her stomach gurgles again, and she has to find somewhere else. So she starts looking for somewhere else, but as she's looking, yeah, she shits herself in public. I don't know why, but she was by some like big dumpster style bins. I'm not really sure why she chose to lean against there. And then the next time we see her, she is in a disabled toilet somewhere, and we see her throw her pants away, like her underwear, and sort of like cleaning a little bit at her trousers. She does seem to be in the same outfit as she was in earlier in the episode. So that's where my critique and feedback comes in, because usually I really have never, when my Crohn's was bad and wasn't being treated before I was officially diagnosed, I don't think I ever accidentally shit myself only a little bit, if you know what I mean. So I think that she didn't shit enough in the show, because a lot of things like that, when those things happen, you either need to call someone to bring clothes, or you have to somehow make it home in like dirty clothes, basically. She is then even later to work than was like originally okay. They okayed her being late for this audition, and she's like, and even later, like an hour later, she never made it to the audition in the end. She never got a chance to do the audition because it was just so embarrassing, and she had to go probably have a full body wash, change her clothes, put a load of laundry on, that sort of thing. So yeah, she turns up late and she gets a bollocking for turning up even later than was agreed. This guy, who took me a while for me to realise who he was, but basically this guy Billy is her boyfriend's guy she's seeing. I don't really know. He was asking how it went and how she was, and obviously she turned up in a bad mood. There's also another bit later on where it's really busy in the restaurant and she asks her manager, the manager, if she can go to the toilet, and he's like no. And that's where I was like, oh, she's not told anybody she has Crohn's disease, or like that she has whatever is going on, because it's not really explicitly said until right at the end of the episode. Although, babes, when you live that, you know the signs. So like I knew right away. When there is a quiet moment, she does get to go to the toilet, but then as she sort of comes out, she knocks some plates over, and this weird new sous chef who's there really like verbally goes for her. He like just fully publicly humiliates her, and the way he's shouting at her. He's the new guy in this situation as well. Like everybody else there already knows each other and has like good relationships with each other. So yeah, like some of the other staff are there like ready to defend her and tell her that it's really no big deal. Like we can just make a few more of the pastries. Like she was just lucky enough to not hit the wedding cake because they were catering for a wedding that day. So then she sort of runs off and is crying in the storeroom. Billy, the boyfriend, comes over to find her. She apologizes to one of the chefs for what she did, whose name I can't remember, she's this blonde lady. And she was like, genuinely, it's no issue. Everybody is completely fine and happy. All of the customers are fine. Like, it's no big deal at all. They all go clubbing after their shift. Well, all of them except the sous chef that nobody likes. That's where it becomes more clear that Robin and Billy are dating all together, because he's then like trying to start something with her. And she's like, please stop. Like, I really don't feel up to it. Today has been awful. Like, can we just enjoy being here? He says some things. He starts being like that typical dickhead boyfriend, which is also something that I think was good about this representation, was showing non-sick partners who just don't get it, but also like the difficulty of explaining a condition like Crohn's disease to a sexual or romantic partner, which is something she sort of says a bit later on as well. It's like, you know, it's not sexy. It's not sexy to talk about this pooping disease I have. Yeah, he says like, oh, well, you're sick, and she is like denying being sick, which I think is a little bit strange. Is she trying to pretend she doesn't have Crohn's disease and that's why she's not told anybody? Is she like in denial about it, or like, I don't know, like hopefully if there is another season, more of this can be sort of looked into and unraveled a bit. Yeah, so like even though she's denying that she's sick, he's like, you literally said that you were sick, like I don't get it. Then he sort of just gets more and more pissy about her not wanting to sleep with him and having not slept with each other or whatever for like a few weeks. Oh no, boo-hoo. Cry about it. Like my guy, if you were constantly worried about shitting, would you be interested in that? Would it put you off, that sort of thing? Because it has done me, you know. She then takes a taxi home with her manager, who is very nice, besides like the way he treated her that day. He's definitely one of the more kind and caring sort of authority figures in that workplace and in this show. In the taxi home, he asks how the audition went, and she admits that she has health issues, and she says that she has Crohn's disease, and that she didn't get to the toilet in time, so she never actually did the audition, and had to come home and deal with all that, and that's why she was late, and how hard it is to explain to her boyfriend. Yeah, because it's not sexy. And then like there's a bit of silence for a while. Like, he was very kind listening to her about it as well, but after a bit of silence, he sort of starts laughing and goes, you shit yourself and I shouted at you. And they were both just like then laughing about it in the taxi on the way home. And like the end few clips, you see that she's fallen asleep at his house. So yeah, like the things that I like about this is, well, one, it's a young woman. I think usually a lot of representation about Crohn's disease or conditions similar to that are centered around older people. Because like that's the thing, most people I've met or like I know or knew around the time of my diagnosis, a lot of people said like, oh yeah, my grandma has this, or like a friend of my grandparents, or you know, the only people they knew who had Crohn's disease or something like that were old people. Even though majority of people with Crohn's or colitis or another IBD, a lot of people are diagnosed in childhood, a lot of people are diagnosed in like teen years or like in their 20s. It is a very high amount of people being diagnosed quite young, and it's like it is a lifelong condition. So that was one thing I liked about it, was that it was a young woman who was trying to just live her life whilst trying to deal with this, and not really always being sure of who to tell about it or how much to tell them about it, because like a lot of workplaces are very discriminatory about things like this, that even if it didn't get in the way of your work, it puts people off. A lot of workplaces don't like to make the adjustments of, yeah, of course you can just run to the toilet right now, even though it's really busy. Like, we would rather you not shit yourself in front of all our customers. Or, you know, turning up late to work or having to cancel because of other symptoms or flare-ups or hospitalizations and things like that. Yeah, a lot of workplaces are not that flexible. So, like, yeah, in one way I like that they showed that she hadn't really disclosed this and eventually does disclose it to her manager specifically. And the fact that once it was disclosed, it wasn't really a big deal to him. He was like, well, yeah, like, of course we'll do what we can. And I liked that she had kind of tried to talk to her boyfriend about it, but hadn't really gone into a lot of detail because of the stigma around Crohn's disease. I also liked that she was an aspiring actor. That in particular was the thing that did it for me and made me feel a little bit too seen. Because, yeah, whilst I've not technically been there in the same way of missing an audition because of it, it's definitely been a problem in rehearsals when I was training and things like that when I was younger. And yeah, there are quite a lot of actors and actresses out there who do have Crohn's disease or an IBD. And this is another one of those things, again, workplace accessibility issues, because they literally only had one toilet and it was broken. That was it. Bye. Like, they didn't even have a non-disabled toilet that could be used. And then, like, yeah, those struggles between, like, you know, this is my dream, but the access issues around it really fuck you up and kind of knock you back and prevent you from doing a lot of those things. And yeah, the opportunities are quite limited when you have health conditions. I liked the subtleties as well with it. I think for a lot of people who don't have Crohn's disease or don't know somebody with Crohn's, they may not have really fully understood what was going on until she really, like, explicitly said it. But it was good to show a lot of those smaller moments and subtle things that I spotted, me and my mum noticed, and were like, oh yeah, she's got the shitting disease. To kind of, yeah, it well, obviously in narrative stuff it's foreshadowing, but I think it's good on a disability point of view for disability representation of, like, yeah, look, this is how small those moments can be on the outside, that people around will have no fucking clue until you tell them, because people never know what they're looking at or looking for when it comes to disability a lot of the time, which is why I personally don't really believe in invisible illnesses. I think that they're all visible. I just think that people don't know what they're looking at or looking for when it comes to signs of disability. So, like, this did a really good job of showing those smaller signs that lead up to flare-ups or these really big, awful, like, embarrassing moments that happen when you have a disability like Crohn's disease. You know, from the first sign of her gurgling stomach and then her having a radar key trying to get into the disabled toilet, those were the things for me that went, it's not a like a urine or like need to wee kind of health condition. It was a specifically digestive, colon related condition.
Having the radar key as well in particular was for me a sign that this was a long-term condition and not just I ate something dodgy the other day so I feel really sick and I've got an upset stomach.
And I did really like that. Like I said earlier, I do think that it wasn't as extreme as it probably should have been, and she did just leave the toilet wearing the same outfit, or I feel like it maybe should have been a little bit more obvious or clear, maybe that she actually packs a spare pair of trousers or underwear with her as well, because that's definitely like a life that a lot of us do live, is like, if we are not in a more recovered state, there is a high anxiety around leaving the house, which does include sometimes having to literally pack a spare pair of pants and trousers to put on, just like, you know, to have with you just in case something happens. So yeah, I think that maybe could have done with a little bit more tweaking and a bit more emphasis on how much forethought has to come into that. Because if it was there, I missed it, and I feel like I wouldn't have missed something like that when I was picking up the other things.
I also think as well, I can't remember exactly what was going on during that bathroom scene and going back home, but I think they really could have emphasised the emotional distress of that even more, because, you know, when you're locked away in a bathroom, that's one of the more safer spaces where you can have sort of like a mental breakdown, a little mentee bee over this sort of thing. So I think they really could have emphasised that with a bit more of a outward emotional response, and maybe even like her ringing somebody. Like, does she have somebody in her life that knows about this? Because I know a lot of times that this has happened to me. I've either called somebody or I've been texting somebody, usually my mum, about it all, because it's really distressing. So I do think that could have also been more emphasised and focused on a little bit more as well. So maybe that's something, again, we can see in the next season too.
Pardon me. I think maybe something else that could be explored a bit more is actually the gas. The gas side of Crohn's disease. I'm very burpy, but also generally gassy all around, and I think that is something that could have been used a bit more of, like, other subtleties around that as well, that I think would help emphasize more of the issues you have to think about when you're like out and about with people, or as well, because they were out clubbing, I think maybe it worsening when she's had a drink, also a thing that happens quite a lot. And I think something I would like to see more if there is a second season is I would like to see a little bit more of a like internal, maybe even like political shift in her, because it does seem like she's very like ashamed and embarrassed of all of this, rather than feeling frustrated that there is this perception, this struggle in society around this condition. So I think whether there's other characters that come in, or I don't know what really, to be honest, or if she watches someone's YouTube videos in the next season, or if you're looking for somebody who's available with actual Crohn's disease to act as a new friend she makes, maybe at a support group or something, you know, I'm available. Call me. But like, you know, I feel like she needs somebody's support in like evolving her internal perception of herself and this condition, and kind of building up her I don't even know like what word I want for this, but like making her feel allowed to take up space and allowed to ask for adaptions, or allowed to speak to people about it and all this sort of thing, and just generally take up more space as a disabled person with Crohn's disease. Because yeah, at the moment it is all very hidden and hush hush and shame and embarrassment, which yeah is a really big part of it, especially quite early on in diagnoses like these, especially when it's hard to get under control, especially when you have to do a lot of things that normal people do just to get by, you know, like having a job, but also trying to pursue dreams and stuff like that. So yeah, I would really like something in the next season that will bring some like radical acceptance and help like release that shame, because I think that will be a good teaching moment for like other chronically ill people with Crohn's disease watching the show. And yeah, I would also like to see maybe more of the other people who don't have Crohn's disease, like the characters, do more to stand up for her, defend her. Like, I can see the manager probably won't be telling people, but is more likely to be stepping up and being like, I said it's fine. That's my member of staff, so get off their back, like, fuck off. And then definitely something between her and this guy she's dating, whether he learns and improves or whether he's just continuing to be a dickhead about it. You know, she has to make some decisions with that. Those are some things I'd really like to see, but generally I think the representation was done really well. It was really sensitive and it was really subtle, and I think the actress did a really good job. I don't really know anything about her. I think I've seen her in some things before, but I don't know much about her personally. If there's anything further for me to say about her, I will insert that here. But yeah, I think more stories like this, even if it is just like small, almost anthology-like shows, I think is really important. There are a lot of other really good things in that show, like I've said already. So I definitely recommend people watch it and talk about it. I'll probably go and watch the short film at some point. You also don't need to watch the short film to kind of understand what's going on in the like 4 episodes, which was good to me because I didn't know there was a short film. My mum's partner did though, but we didn't watch it before watching this. And also he used to work in a kitchen, and he said that the working in a kitchen was very accurate as well. So I think they've probably done a lot more work in being accurate rather than just being convenient for their storyline. And I hope that will continue if the next season comes out, is made. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. Please go give it a watch if you can access it. I definitely hope that more people will talk about that show, because yeah, there was just a lot that they did that I think is really underrepresented in a lot of shows. And I would like to see more of this show in particular, but more shows doing similar things. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments what you thought. If there's any parts of the storylines in the show that aren't this one that you personally thought were good or that you related to, or thought were accurate, please let me know. Yeah, I'd love to talk about this show a little bit more because I don't know many people who've seen it. One of my friends has seen it, and that's kind of it. Don't forget to like, share this video, leave comments, subscribe to my channel, and watching my videos, it all really helps with algorithm stuff. And I'm still doing that, like, pushing for partner. I'm really not far off from the 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet and you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. But yeah, the sharing videos and leaving comments are especially helpful for boosting algorithms, sending my video out to other people on YouTube as recommended, so please do that if you can. Yeah, so that's my video for this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.